Okay, we're back again with the HOOA podcast. I think it's number 13 or 14. I seriously lose count, and that's how much fun it is, and people keep watching. So the other day, I was on my Instagram. I saw a friend of mine. I know him like back and forth just from the timeline, like my neighbor. He had done a podcast, and to be honest, he looks quite comfortable on the screen. And so I thought I'd bring him on today. And so go ahead, man. You'd like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah. Hi, Kieran, living in Belfast, Northern Ireland. I am a filmmaker, musician, ghostwriter, anything to do with words, you name it, I do it. I don't know. How's that?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We haven't had a musician on here, by the way. This is a first.
Okay, cool. Cool,
Yeah.
cool, cool.
What kind of instrument you play?
Oh, you see, that's the thing. I was in like a band years ago.
Yeah.
And I was a lyricist. I was a chief songwriter, and I was the lyricist and the singer. So I don't actually play an instrument, but who knows? I've been saying for 5 years I'm gonna learn the piano this year. So who knows? This might be my year.
Yeah, because of like lockdown and stuff, I can imagine you have
Yeah.
some hands on your time.
Oh no, absolutely. Well, like when I'm not writing or reading,
Mhm.
I guess I should be learning an instrument, but I don't know.
You mentioned earlier that you were like a lyricist for the band. That is that like a songwriter?
Yeah, songwriter. Yeah, I came up with the words. I wrote song. We kind of were like a comedy. We were a comedy punk band. We're called Mental Deficiency. We're available on Spotify. And so we wrote songs about RoboCop. We wrote songs about aliens, and
Okay.
it was great fun. It was one of the most fun periods of my life, just being able to perform for an audience, sing some songs, and then I would like run around in a thong and a morph suit and all that kind of stuff. So it was great.
Did you say you were running around in a thong?
And a
Did you say
thong, yeah, yeah.
it was a
It was good times.
comedic thing then?
Well, I was taking it deadly serious, but everybody else kept laughing at me. So
Yeah, it's okay, like a performance kind of thing,
oh yeah, no, totally, yeah. Well, this is the thing. We started up a band because
Mhm.
in Belfast, in our hometown, all the live acts were really boring to watch.
Okay.
They played like really intricate music, and my friend and I were like, "This is really boring. We could do better than that." Now the
Yeah.
thing was, we weren't very good musicians, but we put on a live performance, and people came to see us, and made an album out of it.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was great fun.
Yeah. The best things get started with those 6 words. We can do better than that. That's how
Yeah,
it usually starts. If you have that idea, then you're gonna do it. Yeah.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
shit. But like, I used to hear like from people like Ed Sheeran or Ryan Tedder or Taylor Swift that there are like certain ways to come up with a song. Like for example, Ryan Tedder of One Republic. I know he hums a tune,
Yeah,
and if it's catchy, that's the hook of the song. And then every time there's a song on the radio of One Republic that you sing along
yeah,
to, he had it first, like the earworm in his head.
yeah.
Do you know anything
He's
about these things?
I think first of all, I think like Ryan Tedder is a genius because like he's ghostwritten so many songs. Like Leona Lewis, he did Bleeding Love. He wrote
Yeah,
that. He
yeah.
worked with Chris Cornell. He's got like such a wide repertoire of people who he works with. I would
Yeah.
say, you know what?
Hmm.
That's pretty similar to what I would work out because sometimes, mainly, I would get my best ideas for like songs in the shower. And
Okay.
we get this kind of like it would just kind of keep drumming away in your
Hmm.
head, and I would just hear it over and over again. And then it used not my litmus test of is it a good song is do I still remember it by the time I've got out of the shower? If it's still in my
Ah,
head, I'm like, you know,
that's a
I'm
good one.
like,
That's a good one.
I'm like, it must be a good song.
Yeah, it
But
reminds me a little bit of the Eureka moment. He had that in the bathtub, and a lot
yeah,
of the ancient Greeks and ancient Romans, they took like long baths
yeah.
to to really like calm your body, your nervous system, your hormones, and get the juices flowing. And they're the best ideas come up. It's like a moment
There,
of stillness.
yeah, there's something I don't know what it is about water, but like whenever you're near it, you just can kind of like you can feel your brain just kind of unclog and just all the ideas kind of flow out. You always try to be
Yeah.
near water. Have you ever done sensory deprivation?
No, I haven't done that. I hear it's good
Oh
shit.
man,
Have you done it?
oh man, I was like, most people have like normal problems, like a drinking problem, or they
Yeah.
do heroin. I'm like,
Yeah.
I got addicted to like doing sensory deprivation. Just like put me in the tank,
Yeah.
and just kind of just you know, you just let your brain just kind of run wild, you know. It's pure black. Your perception of time and space just shifts. You're in this wee small bath. They put in all these Epsom salts, so you're just basically floating. You know, you don't even really feel the water, because they put that at like body temperature, so it like just feels like you're just kind of, you're flying almost in the dark, and then you're in the small bath, but like it's like you feel the walls just go, you know, it's like you just you just feel so small, and it's a great experience. Highly recommend it. So
I think I'm gonna do it because I meditate a lot, and it would be the
yes, I saw that.
How do I say? Because when you meditate, you have to strip away senses. For example, I like to meditate on the toilet pot, in the shower, because it strips away a sense. For example, like when I shower, then I turn off the lights, you know, or when I'm outside meditating, there's no music, you know, so then I listen to the birds and whatever. But the sensory deprivation sounds like like a good catalyst, you know. There's this blank slate, and then I wonder what the fuck I'm gonna think about. Such as psychedelics, you know. People always recommend.
It's like
so
it's like the thoughts come to you kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just the conduit.
Yeah, you're just the conduit. A little bit like I always say with writing, it's like a muse comes, you know. Like it's very mystical, and it makes for stronger quality ideas. Yeah.
That's the thing, definitely. Like with writing, like everyone's like, oh, I'm not feeling very inspired, or I don't have any ideas, and you're like, no. You gotta make the muse come to you. You gotta just go about your business. You just gotta be writing, and then eventually, you know, the muse. I always think like the muse, or the subconscious, the creative energy, whatever you want to call it, is almost like is like this toddler, like this spoiled toddler who it's like, you know, it's like you feel, you know, it comes in and it's like and as soon as you pay attention to it, it runs off. But what you got to do, how you deal with it, you know, or maybe even like, you know, maybe it's like a bad dog, you know, and like all you got to do is you just got to focus on something else, and eventually it'll be curious in what you're doing, and it'll come to you. And that's kind of how I feel with creative thoughts.
Oh,
it's almost
that's
like
interesting. Yeah. It
that's how I feel about
reminds me of cats, what you just described. That's
Yes,
fickleness.
yes.
That's fickleness, because what you describe now is it gets interested in what you're interested. So either that's a baby, the classic baby. A baby has two toys. He has a ball and a fluffy bear. First he plays with one thing, then you give him the other thing, the bear, and then he's distracted. Then you take the ball. Then suddenly the baby wants to come to the ball again. You know.
Yeah.
And cats have the same shit, and women as well. And, and so the muse has this feline feminine quality then to it, and childlike quality. Yeah.
It's definitely you're tapping into, you know, that subconscious feminine energy. Can we get esoteric on this podcast? Is that okay? Or like
for sure. No, every guest of mine has this like floatiness in them. We had like the first guy did some shrooms. This guest number 4 was doing DMT on the podcast. I might get banned one day for that shit. And somebody always had something. Somebody always has these crazy esoteric frameworks. Okay. So you can go ahead, man. So what?
Okay, no, that's cool. Yeah, I feel like it's almost like this kind of like divine feminine energy or whatever. Whenever it comes to like creativity, you know, that you kind of have to tap into. And if you wait for it to come to you, it'll never come to you. But if you basically prepare the house for the arrival, essentially, and you do that by getting like a good writing routine, you know, or whatever your creativity is, whatever you do, you just have to kind of sit down at the desk every day and do the work, and eventually it'll come to you. For example, like I made a film about 10 years ago, and we made it in a real short space of time.
Okay.
And I basically had to write the script in a month. So I busted my hump. I wrote. And at the very end of it, all the ideas for the songs that were on the album just kind of came to me. And I always kind of thought that was like the subconscious, the creative energy kind of like rewarding me for putting in the hard work. It's like, okay, you've done this work that you didn't necessarily feel inspired to do. So here's some inspiration for you, you know?
Yeah.
Creativity.
Yeah. It reminds me what you just described, how you had this like pressure to write this like film or screenplay. It reminds me of that Wolverine movie, Logan. They didn't expect it to be a hit, but I was studying why was it such a good movie. It's almost like, yeah, in my opinion, almost like Oscar-worthy level if you strip down the superhero stuff in it, because it's a really good Western. So it's just basically Wolverine who has this, yeah, like samurai cowboy vibe to him, this loner vibe, and the story is a typical like redemption story. It's a typical cowboy story. But so I was reading into the craft of it, who made it, you know. So it was this filmmaker is called James Mangold. He made the movie Cash with Johnny Cash, the autobiography with
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix, yeah. But so this man won. He is not like a regular, like a superhero kind of director kind of guy. So he has experience with biopics, cowboy movies, and but this time he also took his hand to writing the script himself or something like that.
Yeah.
But it had to be done in a short span because of budget or whatever. And but because it was only him and one other dude that oversaw this creative process, you had this like you had like this cooker pressure. It was like this almost like a diamond. This creative energy was pressurizing the script, and it only had like one or two drafts, you know, because contrarily to this, usually in the superhero business, you have like lots of redos and shit like that, and then you get this weird watered down screenplay that is, in my opinion, fucking garbage. But if you have just one dude who has one idea, just runs it through, and one guy says, "Oh yeah, okay, maybe fix this up, touch this up a little bit," then like make the fucking movie. You're your own fucking director and the writer. Nobody touches that fucking shit. Then you get good shit, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like once you start bringing in the committee of writers, you know, it stops becoming one clear, definitive vision.
Yes.
And that seems to be what the case was with that Logan film. Also, the time pressure thing is really important. If you're writing anything, you should always kind of have a deadline in mind, because you can basically take forever to write anything. And that's what a lot of writers, I feel, that's a mistake they make. They're just like, you know, I'll kind of do a wee bit here and there, but no, like get it out. You know, it's always it's so easy to say that you're writing something that actually the hard work of actually doing the writing is something else entirely. You know.
Yeah. So, what are kind of like writing principles or must-dos for you when you're working on a project? We'll go into the system in a bit, that you like, the secret system, but you just described, for example, this deadline, or what are all other things that come to your mind that you would say to a beginning writer that has no clue which kind of guidelines to follow?
I would say the main one, and I've said this to writers before, and they don't like it when I say this. I was like, don't worry about being good. You know, don't actually, you know, being good is very subjective. And no matter, say you write the best book ever, there's always going to be someone who goes, that's a bit shit. You know, there's always people who go, I don't really like The Great Gatsby, or I don't really like, you know, Of Mice and Men. I don't like No Country for Old Men. You know, there's all these people who kind of don't like stuff. I didn't get it. You know, so no matter what you do, there's always going to be someone who hates it. You know, so don't worry about being. I never worry about a first draft being good. My other advice to writers would be just be consistent and don't worry about getting it. Set yourself a deadline, but set yourself a realistic deadline. Whatever you think you can write it in, maybe add like 50% on top of it, because you'll always kind of fall short. There's going to be days where you just do not feel like writing, and that's fine, but you still got to do like a wee bit of writing. Last year, I set myself a challenge of like writing a screenplay in 18 days. I managed to get it done in 12, and I kind of formed the basis for like my first ebook. Kind of the systems that I kind of went through on that. I would say another important thing is just keep pushing forward with your writing, because I like to write things out by hand when I can. Because it used to be whenever I was writing on a laptop or a phone or whatever, I would always go back and keep adjusting as I go, and then eventually I wouldn't have that much to show by the end of it. So now I just kind of keep pushing forward. Doesn't matter if it's shit, because it will be. That's the thing. You have to understand, like, once you kind of make peace with the fact that it will be shit, your work gets so much better. And it's like, it's a hard kind of concept for some people.
I get it. Yeah, it reminds me a little bit. There's this decisiveness to it. Reminds me of this UFC fighter. His name is Nate Diaz. A lot of people overcomplicate before they step into the ring, but why he's better than most is because he has this switch that he says, yeah, you're just gonna get punched in the face anyway. So
Yeah.
I know it's gonna happen. I know might get knocked out. And funny thing is, he never gets knocked out, even though he
All right.
that like yeah, it might happen, you know. And then the switch happens in the brain, just like you described a little bit with writing. Yeah, it's gonna be shit anyways. This is the outcome, but you're gonna do it anyway. And then yeah, usually it turns out quite okay. You know?
Yeah, like that's the other thing. Like, as bad as things are, like I also used to do like script editing for people. People would send me their scripts and I would kind of give a read at them.
Mm.
And like I guarantee whoever's watching this podcast, like if you are like a writer, no matter how bad you think you are, you're not that bad. I've read some absolute shite in my day. Like, and it's so like, there was one guy and I sent him back this note and it was like, it was basically like, please do not have Adolf Hitler as a romantic interest in your film, you know. It was just, I was like, and then I was like, also here's another note, please don't have Adolf Hitler say the line, I'm just a misunderstood guy. You know, it was one of those ones where like it was so bad, I was like, I almost wanted to email this guy and be like, are you all right? Do you need to like speak to someone? You know, because it was like it was so bad. But yeah.
Yeah.
It won't be great, but at the same time, it won't be the worst. You'll be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And you can always edit it to be better. You cannot edit what hasn't been written.
I think what you describe a little bit is perfectionism, but also scared of failure, coupled with insane, unrealistic perfectionism. A perfectionism of like, to be honest, a lack of skill even. Like, for example, to equate it like going to the gym, you've never touched a weight in your life, and you're scared to bench press 350,000 pounds or something. Like, how do you think you're gonna like? Why are you scared of something that? And in this case, it's perfect for writing because people have this weird convoluted mindset about it that every time I write something about writing, which I don't like to do, I've only done it once. But the first part is get all this fucking garbage that you have in your head out of the way, and then we can start with some fine tuning techniques and whatever, you know. But yeah, these kind of things are really important that they just have to do the fucking work, you know. So I heard a little bit what you said by writing by hand. I wrote that down. Sounds really interesting because not a lot of people do it anymore besides journaling. But how was that experience for you? What did you feel?
You feel more decisive, I think. Like, hold on, let me just, like at the start of the year, I was trying to do like a, like a short story. Let's see, can I find, so this is like, I would just kind of, write and write and write. And it stops you from stopping and editing yourself.
Okay.
Because like my system, I wrote a blog post about how to kind of write a short story in an hour and a half and get it out there into the world.
Okay.
And the first
thing
is
we can put that in the in the description of this video. There's going to be for people that are interested
I'll send
in
you
this.
a link through to that. Yeah. Like writing by hand, you feel it again. This will sound esoteric, but you feel more connected with the work. You know what I mean? You can kind of visualize it more.
It's quite tangible actually, because you are connected. You are connected.
Yeah, like you're literally like with a pen. It's literally the thought is coming from your brain down your arm, out the ink onto the page. You're to get really airy-fairy, you're manifesting reality. You're manifesting like
no. I've seen tweets like that. Yeah, because they say like it's kind of eerie in the sense that you have an idea, but then you manifest it into reality. This is as close as you can come to magic, because it wasn't there first, then you thought of it, and then it comes to the world, and then you can start making shit.
No, absolutely. I follow Scott Adams on Twitter, and I was reading his How to Fail, and this was years ago, and he really got me into the idea of affirmations. Affirmations is one of those things that I do. I don't fully comprehend it, and I'm still a bit skeptical of it, but I always find that it works. And I always kind of think you're almost like training your subconscious mind to see certain patterns that you wouldn't see otherwise. That's what kind of affirmations are for me.
Yeah. I read that thing about Scott Adams as well. I think it was in Tools of Titan, or the other one of Tim Ferriss, Tribe of Mentors. Scott Adams was in it, and it's like a mini come up story of Scott Adams. that what did he say? Oh yeah, the time that he was writing his blog before it was famous, he was just writing a blog in the air basically, and
Yeah.
he has this systems approach to it. Like he was training the skills, getting better at writing without the goal of becoming famous. Systems approach. And but then he said he was also during that time affirming that I'm going to be a successful writer. And then he said, yeah, that
Yeah.
is true. I don't know if it's because I was affirming it or doing it, but it just seemed to happen. And
Like
if it's
yeah,
perceived
like it,
affecting people, then why don't you yeah, just do it.
exactly. Like have you read the Robert Cialdini influence book?
I know it's one of those books that you should have read, but I haven't gone through it cover by cover, but I know the gist of it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like it's one of those books I read years ago. Like
Hmm.
kind of what got me kind of down this line was like reading Neil Strauss's The Game years ago,
Hmm.
like kind of as I was finishing up uni kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
like I basically like I found all the books that he mentions in that and kind of read through them just to kind of get more information, so like
Hmm.
48 Laws of Power and all that kind of stuff. But
Hmm.
with what were we talking about? Yeah, with the Cialdini book, like there one of the principles is consistency, like internal consistency. Did you ever like I okay, one thing you're going to find out about me when I speak is that I will start talking about one thing and then I'll switch over to here and you'll be like, what's this about? That's completely unrelated. But trust me, they'll come back and they'll link back in together.
Yeah,
So during the Korean War,
yeah.
they brainwashed American troops.
Hmm.
Basically, they would bring them in when they were in the POW camps. They would bring the American troops in and they would say to the American troop, be like, okay, say one bad thing about America and
Yeah,
say one good thing about you know Korea or
yeah.
you know so they would
Uh-huh.
go in America there's a lot of unemployment, in Korea everyone has a job,
Hmm.
so they would record this, and what they would do, how they brainwash these people is they would the troops, they would record this, then during like lunch break or whatever in the
Hmm.
prison camp they would play the recording to the rest of the troops, and they would hear this guy making this, confessing this, and
Hmm.
because of psychological internal consistency, he would be like, yeah, 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 no, I believe that because I said that. I wouldn't have said that if I hadn't believed it. So that brings me back around to affirmations. When you're doing affirmations, you are forcing yourself to be internally consistent with yourself. I don't know if that
Hmm.
makes any sense, and I know I took a long time to say that, but
Yeah. No,
that's
it.
kind of
You. How do you say you embellished it with a powerful story there. It's
okay.
about, especially in that last part, what you said is you're making it sense to yourself. That's
Yeah,
part because beliefs are part of identity, and
absolutely.
so actions come from habits,
Yeah,
and habits are tied to identity. But you have to break or
absolutely.
remold or reprogram your identity if you're, let's say, a little bit lazy person, or I don't know, you watch Netflix all day. I don't want to hate all these
Yeah,
people, but if you want to become something else, then you have to affirm in your identity with certain internal consistency that no, you are not the type of person to do XYZ. You are the type of person that eats healthier or trains or whatever, and yeah, it makes sense. I used to now these days I like reading psychology. I don't have that
yeah.
much time anymore, like how I used to read in back in the day. Like you said with the game, like I went like down that fucking rabbit hole. On my
Oh yeah,
hard disk, I even have all those books, but I don't have the time to revisit them again. But really
yeah.
powerful in about copywriting. Today I was reading about copywriting and stuff like that. A lot of psychological principles are executed flawlessly and quite subtly in copywriting. For example. So it's good. You know.
Yeah, like yeah, copywriting is like it feels like it's you're leading the reader,
Yes.
you're guiding them
Yeah.
through the text, and then you're making them reach this logical decision,
Yeah.
or what they will see as a logical decision.
Yeah. That's well put. You're pacing them.
Yeah,
You're guiding the prospect to the prospect and the product, and it's like the copy is almost like the bridge. You're like, hey, follow along this path, and in the end, they can also choose to say no. But it's the better the copy, the better the offer. It's just smoothly like, oh, okay, this makes sense. This makes sense.
yeah. It's like it's funny, like the structure of a good story and the structure of good copy are almost like kind of identical
Okay, can
you
you
know
tell me a little bit about that? Yeah.
yeah. So because I kind of come to copywriting and all the writing stuff through filmmaking. Basically, I've read like a lot of screenplay writing books, and they're almost kind of like interchangeable with copywriting books.
Yeah.
So I've done a lot of reading, and I've kind of come up with my own system that I always kind of like apply to anything that I write, anything that I do. And it's basically like you have to hit the 5 points. It's the 5-point story system. So like I'll go through like a film example first, and then I'll go through like a copywriting example.
Yeah,
so you got your 5 points. So you got point 1, which is your setup, which is where you introduce everything. You hook them in. You do the opening scene, and like in one of my all-time favorite films of all time, Ghostbusters, that is, you find out that there's ghosts in New York, and there's a group of scientists and they need to get their shit sorted out. Then you have point 2, which is things go according to plan. And in Ghostbusters, they become Ghostbusters, they start their business, they're a big success.
Yeah.
Then there's point 3, which I think in storytelling is the most important part, which is the realization, the moment of realization. And in Ghostbusters, it's like, oh, there's a big demon, there's Gozer, who's coming to destroy the world. So they've been like busting ghosts and making money, and they're like, life's great. But really, there's something bigger on the horizon. Then they have the choice part. Every good film, every really good film has a real strong, solid choice. In Ghostbusters, they're like, should we help these people out, these people who arrested us, or should we run off and be cowards? But no, they decide to square up to Gozer. And number 5, the aftermath, save the day. That's the aftermath, where you find out that they've saved the day and everything is back to normal. Now, good copywriting does the exact same thing. You got your setup. Oh, my life was like this, blah blah blah. Things go according to plan. I thought my life was okay without this product. I thought I could live without this product. Number 3, realization. I think I need this product.
Yeah.
Number 4, choice. Can I live my miserable life without this product, or do I be a winner? And I pick this product. And then number 5, sign up to my email, sign up to my newsletter, just to say goodbye, sign up now, buy now, that's the aftermath. So
that's powerful, man.
So there you go.
Yeah, I like that but it means a little bit, going a little bit deeper. You have what they call in psychology, the talent or the skill, or you trained it. You have lateral thinking. Have you ever heard about that?
I've heard lateral thinking.
Yeah. It's basically, if I talk to people, not a lot of people have this, and usually the more gifted people who can cross domains of information really fast. What I mean by that is what you just described. You were filmmaking, but then a storyteller, copywriter. For a lot of people, in one lifetime, they would never dare to do that because it's too challenging for them to jump across all these domains, But with lateral thinking, you can make the leaps faster because you see, oh, this is the underlying structure. It's basically the same, this and that. And then you can pick up more things, So I definitely heard that. Yeah.
That's cool. Like, I think it's, have you done the 16 personalities thing? Or do you know what?
Oh, you mean the my bricks?
Yeah. Have you done that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am ENFP. So that means, like I share a personality type with like Robin Williams and Quentin Tarentino, and also Michael Scott from The Office. So apparently my personality type sees the world as like a series of webs. Everything's kind of like interconnected.
Yep.
So as far as I'm concerned, like everything is a form of storytelling. Everything we do, everything that happens, like songs, all songs, I think kind of all really good songs follow that kind of 5-point system. I think copywriting does. And basically cool. You name it, it follows that system. So yeah.
I really like that.
I don't know if that's lateral thinking or just luck.
Yeah, just luck. I don't know. But luck is like you have to be prepared, for that. So definitely a little bit your background and stuff like that put you up to that, So, but it's good that you found it out, So God bless that. But I mean, also like, and also for people now that can hear these types of styles of thinking, because even if there's just one listener who can think, oh, I didn't know that. If you think from a principle-based point of view, like, oh, I can dissect this and this, take it home with me, and then, but one day, if I think quite holistically, I can use it on something as well. these type of person that it will click, I hope it happens for them. They will grow much faster, you know? Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, we've given away all the fucking secret sauce already so fast.
Is it the thing, man? No secrets, no secrets. Open, honest communication. Whenever I used to be more involved with the filmmaking scene, I would always go up to these kind of guys who had made short films, and they made real beautiful pieces of work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say to them, I was like, that is gorgeous. See that? How did you do that shot? And they go, oh, and they would just be a total blank wall. They wouldn't tell me anything about how there was no exchange of information.
Oh,
the thing is, I don't mind giving up. I never want to be like that kind of person who doesn't, help other people, when they ask for help. And for me, it's, you see, we all win if we give away the secrets, and more people will be telling better stories, so we all win, so.
I know what you mean. You're talking a little bit from the abundance mindset.
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe when I was younger, I had that as well. To this day, sometimes I'm quite a private man. I don't like to share too much. But with these type of things, with like content creation, if we want to call it like this, because Thomas J. Bevan doesn't like that word, because we're making art.
Edit this bit out when you send it to Thomas
J. But you have to give people. You have to give to people. You have to service the people, and he who services best, those people thrive. You have to give the people what they want, and that's how it goes.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that system that you were hinting at.
Oh, I gave away the kind of, this is how I structure everything from
okay. That's done basically how you started something. But earlier you were talking about a master spreadsheet or something like this. And
yeah. So I used to get really intimidated by big word counts. For me, 20,000 words used to be, whoa, I'm never going to get that done.
It's a lot.
Now, it's a lot, but it's amazing how quickly you can write if you do it consistently. Over the past couple of years, I've been measuring kind of how many words I do. And so my system would be, if I'm doing any writing, no matter what it is, I would set a timer for 25 minutes. And I would just write. I wouldn't think about it. I would always be trying to beat the clock. Once the 25 minutes is over, I would log how many words I got done. I would log the time. And then I would just keep doing it and keep doing it. The good thing is you don't need to spend that long writing. If anything, if you are wanting to write full time, or just if you're wanting to write in general, more of it is done out and about, talking to people, experiencing things. Whereas the actual nuts and bolts of writing is pretty simple. You're writing for 25 minutes, logging that, do another 25, log it, keep going until you're kind of until your mind just starts to kind of, and then stick it in a spreadsheet. And and just watch as your productivity will just skyrocket over time. Last month wasn't even that, half the month kind of I wasn't writing, but I still managed to get about 30k words done. So it's when I'll talk about my system for how to what I would actually do. So say I needed to write something that was 1,000 words. So I wouldn't just jump right in and do 1,000 words. I'd do smaller versions of it. So I'd do a 125 word version, then 250, then 500, then 1,000. I would kind of work my way up, and then I would kind of fill the gaps in as I go. And that would be my system for just basically writing anything,
Yeah, that sounds good. It reminds me a little bit of the Pomodoro technique, these 25 minutes.
That's what, that's where I got it from. I got it, Jose Rosado is a big champion of the Pomodoro technique, so I got that from him.
Yeah, it's good. So what some people might not know is that you're Twitter's best kept secret gem.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I have been struggling so hard to break 1,000 followers. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, but that's why you're a secret. People don't understand that you are basically the puppet master behind all the gurus. Like
Something like
everything
that.
they love about all their favorite accounts is your responsibility. You're like a secret ghostwriter, you know. And I asked you
Well,
beforehand. We'll leave out all the names, but can you tell us a little bit? You know, you had the a younger Kieran. He was thinking, "I'm gonna become something." What comes into a
yeah.
person's mind to become a ghostwriter? It sounds cool, but I can imagine the things that you do is quite different than the name itself. You know.
Well, like the main thing is, say I was speaking to younger Kieran. One of the things I would say to younger Kieran is getting credit is not all it's cracked up to be. Getting paid is far better than getting credit. You know, so like
That's a good one. Yeah.
so like one of the things is, so with I've worked with a couple of accounts across Twitter. Currently at the minute I'm doing like LinkedIn statuses for people.
Oh, that's good.
It's all right. It's all right. It's yeah, like some of the people I'm working with, they specifically are all about, you know, storytelling and all that. So that's, you know, it's great for me. It's a great fit. But kind of what people will do is they'll bring you a bit of writing, and what it is you're taking it into a Google Docs and you are suggesting edits to it. So you're not really rewriting it completely. You're kind of making suggestions. Ultimately, it's up to them what they want to do with it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll try and like, I've kind of got the important thing is you don't want to make it sound like I'm writing it. You want to make it sound like the person who's done it,
yeah, for sure,
has written it. So you need to match their tone, and you need to kind of mirror their language. If they use a particular phrase, you got to do that yourself. I will suggestions, making edits, or if they need structural changes, I'll do that too. And yeah, and then I send it off to them, and if they're happy, you know, it's good. You get then I get paid, and then the thing is, I don't want to just get like paid. I want like a working relationship with these people, because
yeah, I get it. Yeah,
some of these people I've worked with are like just really nice, really good, solid people. Like have helped me out, have put me in contact with other people. So it's not about, yes, it's about getting paid. You do that almost like as a kind of obligation, you know, as a mark of respect or whatever, you know. But like it's, you know, it's about like a working relationship with people.
I get it.
And I've been doing that since about 2019 properly, and yeah, it's great. It's really enjoyable just working with different people, you know.
Yeah, it sounds really
Making
cool.
connections.
Yeah. What did you say? The internet connection.
Making connections.
Oh, making connections. Oh, yeah. The internet connection is a little bit slow, so forgive me. But it is about, it is about making connections. You know, it reminds me of there's this blogger. His name is Eric Barker. He's famous among some people, but he has this cool thing or concept for networking. He just calls it, think of when you were a kid and you were in the sandbox, you were playing. This playing is how you make connections when you were a kid. Just try to do that again now as an adult, and it will go really well for you, you know, if you just make connections.
Definitely. Like I think like doing stuff for people for free, you know, at the start, or doing what you want to do, kind of like, you know, being playful with other people is a good way of kind of like getting you noticed. Like like I don't know what I did, but like Scott, like your man Scott Adams, he follows me. I can't remember what I did to do that, but
that's interesting.
But yeah, I don't know what I did to do that, but I think I went into conversations with him on Twitter and stuff with zero expectation. You know, it was a nice surprise that he followed me, and I'm thankful he did that. But
that's good.
I think if you enter a conversation, you know, being like, I need this person to like me. Again, it's like, you know, the cat from earlier. You know, if you go after the cat and you're like, you gotta love me, cat, the cat's gonna fuck off. You know, but if you're just like, if you're chill, you're just like, hey cat, you know, if you let go of expectation, things go a lot better. That's kind of
you're
what
talking
I've learned
about a certain detachment that is prevalent in Zen Buddhism and Taoism and Bushido. It's quite this
Oh yeah.
aloofness that you must have to things. The more you care about something, the less you're gonna get it. It has been
Oh
proven
no, absolutely.
for me in my life, and intuitively, everybody listening to this in my to every audience and you as well. You know, the more you care about it, in the sense not that you can't care about it, that is that
Yeah.
intent of wanting to do something, of you're gonna want to have it and blah blah, blah work towards it. But if you force yourself upon it, like this
Yeah.
friction that you're creating, this force, it never ends well.
Yeah.
Everybody can vouch for that. And yeah,
No, absolutely.
it's pretty cool that you had these things with like Scott Adams. I've had it with a lot of like people. Some people I can't even really name, in the sense that these like relationships are really, how do you say, like really precious, but they just started with some back and forth about something really stupid, and then later
Yeah.
the person reveals more about themselves, or they know that guy or this girl, blah blah, and then yeah, it's really interesting how it goes if you just be yourself.
Yeah. If you stop trying to like control every interaction that you have with people, if you just kind of like take people as they are, accept things,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So
So that's definitely good. So, of course, we have to ask this question: what is your favorite drink? Since you're an Irish man, you mentioned
an
Jameson.
Irishman.
Yeah,
Oh my God, Jameson. Yeah, Jameson with a lime, not a slice of lime. Jameson,
yeah.
ginger ale, and you get like half a lime,
Hmm.
and you just scrape that lime out and
Oh, you
squeeze it
scrape
into
the
it. It's
lime, the zest,
absolutely
but the
yeah, yeah,
juice you
yeah.
put it in as well.
No, no, no. You get the juice. You get the juice. You just absolutely hook it in there.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. I'm I'm quite partial to a gin and tonic as well.
Hmm.
Gin doesn't get me drunk. Gin doesn't get me drunk, or
True.
maybe it does, and I just forget. But
No, but
but yeah,
gin is
whenever
a clear liquor. On general, if
yeah,
a person can hold this thing, gin won't take you. Then if it's good quality gin. Then yeah.
yeah, no, but Jameson and ginger, yeah, no, it's highly recommend that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I wasn't thinking that you were gonna come up with a cocktail, but that's a cocktail always. So ginger or ginger ale, you said. I didn't hear that. What did you say?
Ginger ale, yeah, Jameson and ginger ale, yeah, for your
And
mixer.
then
Like
ice, lemon, half a lemon, and then just
ice,
a little bit of the zest.
yeah. Well, the zest doesn't matter. It's the juice of the lime that you want. That's what you're going for. It's
Yeah, yeah,
so it's so tasty, and it's been responsible for so many good nights, my friends. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's,
recommend.
it's too bad that I can't do all these podcasts. Like like drinking and shit like that. It would be like a huge blast. But if I'm
Yeah,
gonna do all these podcasts, I gotta keep myself under control, or else I can't ask these questions.
sweet.
So, you said when you go about your day, you didn't have like a lot of time to play an instrument, for example, because you read a lot and write a lot. I can imagine that's a little bit your day. What? How does the structure of your day look like? Given, like, for example, the COVID lockdown now, but how does
Yeah,
the day in the life of like a ghostwriter, copywriter, writer just like you? How does it look like?
it'll be. I'll get up.
Mhm,
I'll get up
mhm.
about 9:30. I'm a bit of a well. The minute I'm struggling. I'm struggling to get to sleep at night. There just seems
Yeah,
to be like this energy in the air. That kind of thing. But like,
I get what you mean.
get up. Yeah, I'll get up. Write. I will write first thing, but that's kind of for me. So it'll just be like a random, like it'll be a wee short story. I'll usually just fill a page,
Hmm.
and then I'll get into my actual work, which will be like the most important task in a minute. The minute is like LinkedIn posts.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I'll do a couple of them. Then after that, I will I will spend I will do some I do affirmations. Let's see, I do affirmations, gratitude, and then my goals for the year kind of
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
Uh, After that, I'll meditate for about half an hour, and then work a bit more. Stop for lunch.
Yeah.
Long walk, about 2 hour walk in the afternoon.
Yeah. I've seen the
Bit
pictures.
of reading.
The park
Oh
near
yeah,
you. It looks really beautiful.
yeah.
People should. I'm
It's so
like I'm also trying to like plug your Instagram. Then people can follow you.
okay.
Like, yeah, yeah, it's good
Yeah,
shit.
no, absolutely. Like do that, and then come home, bit of reading, bit of independent study, and after that dinner. Then after that, I don't even necessarily want to do this, but like I just go on Twitter and post video replies to people for like 2 hours, and then
Yeah. You caught me with one of those as well. I was like, you caught me a little bit off guard, and you were like, you should really do video replies. Then I said to you, yeah, but it takes up so much of my storage. I don't want to do it, and my internet, the connection's not that good. Like, why
but
the fuck I'm gonna post video replies? If it would go in 1 second, and I had like a lot of storage, I would do it.
yeah,
Like if it goes fast, but yeah, it's good.
but yeah. Then after that, probably read a bit more and in bed,
Yeah,
basically.
but what kind of
So
things you're reading? You said like some study and some reading. What kind of things does it entail?
so so let's see. I have 3 books on the go at any one time. I have like, let me see. Everything's kind of near here. So I'm going back over this at the minute. Cashvertising,
Oh yeah,
highly
the
recommended.
classic, the classic. Yeah.
The classic. Going back over this again, and then I'm reading like this. I have a woo woo book, and by woo woo I mean esoteric. So it's called Write It Down, Make It Happen. It's absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
It's just like
What's it about?
it's all about like affirmations and all that.
Yeah. The manifestation, the manifestations.
yeah, this book easily could have been. Oh, this book easily could have been a 1,000-word blog post, like absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
And then I have a fiction book. So at the minute, I'm finishing off like Elric. It's called Elric of Melnibone by Michael Moorcock. If you
Okay.
like The Witcher, you'll probably like it, because I think The Witcher pretty much ripped it off, because it's all about this white-haired, frail guy who kind of travels about slaying
Yeah.
monsters. And then
That sounds like The Witcher.
yeah, like that's it. Like it's a total fucking ripoff. But like
Yeah.
Michael Moorcock is great because all his books are like really short. He did this one about a time traveler who goes back in time to meet Jesus, and then he becomes Jesus. It's
Oh.
fantastic. It's really good. Yeah, it's really good. He finds out that like Jesus is like this learning disabled kid, and he's like, uh-oh. So he has to like
We
he
can
has to
put
like
that.
step
We
out.
can put that one in the description as well if you like. So we got like the blog
Yeah,
post
it's
that we're gonna post. The anything that you want, actually, your Instagram we're gonna put, and this one, these book tips.
yeah. It's called Behold the Man. It's fantastic. But and then after I finish with Elric, I'm going to read The Trial by Franz Kafka, because I feel like
Oh
I
yeah.
should read some. I feel like I should read something a bit more highbrow after that.
Yeah, you
So
should. It's good for you to
yeah,
plow through. And if you're really
yeah.
like into it, you should read it in German, in Deutsch.
Oh, I'll be super aggressive.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
something that struck me, like while you were going about your day, you mentioned, like, for example, that you wake up and you just write something, like a short story by hand, or
yeah.
like first thing in the morning. It doesn't sound like writing is like a obsession for you or a compulsion, but it's like kind of part of you. Like, why did you start it at all? You know, writing, not
I
this in the morning shit, but it sounded, it
yeah.
sparked the trigger.
I I don't. I honestly I don't know why I'm so drawn to like writing and coming up with stories. I've always kind of been like attracted to entertaining people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've always like, I was like kind of like I was like the class clown back in school kind of thing,
Got it. Yeah.
you know. And so there's this. It's weird. It's almost like there's this part of me that like loves performing
Mm-hmm.
for people. Like back in school, back in like primary school, I would always be in like the school play, and then when I went
Okay.
to high school and all that, I would do. I was very involved in like the drama
I got it.
department and all that kind of. Everyone else was doing technology and sports. I was doing,
Yeah.
I was doing drama. But like,
Okay.
and then like I've done stand-up comedy. I've been in,
Mm-hmm.
music bands. I've done improv comedy. You know, plays, like name it. Like there's this part of me that just, I don't know. It's probably egotistical. It's probably narcissistic. But like, there's always this part of me that kind of like wants to be seen, to be doing stuff. And probably I think that's probably where the video reply tweets come from. But the fact is like, look at me, pay attention to me, pay attention to me.
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
I definitely didn't want to go, how do you say, too psychoanalytical, because I can like go further on this shit. But it's just something that struck upon me, because the same for me. People ask me why I like it, and it's a little bit my favorite writer. His name is Lee Child. It's just a thriller writer, but he had the same thing what you just described. He wanted to entertain people, so he wasn't that talented in theater or shit like that, but he was working behind the scenes and television work. So in a way, he was part of making entertainment happen, But then he got laid off, and then he wanted to be in the spotlight. Then he wrote the Jack Reacher series, and then he became a New York Times bestseller. And now he was, he was this man, There's definitely the story element, the hero aspect, I love that. Yeah.
Have you seen the Tom Cruise, the first Jack Reacher film? Have you seen that?
I've seen both of the Jack Reacher movies. Yeah.
See that first one? It is hands down one of the most underrated thrillers of the last 20 years. It is so good.
It's
so
good.
Well done.
Yeah.
It's better than it is better than good. Like I would say it's almost like classic status, because it's just so well done. It's so tense, that gunfight at the end.
Yeah.
And then
go on.
the car chase in that film is what I would call a perfect scene, because again, it follows the 5 points. It follows those 5 points. Go back, rewatch that car chase. Yeah. It follows the 5 points. So number one, he's getting chased. He's having to go after these guys. So the chase goes well. The chase goes okay for him. Then he gets all messed up. He starts crashing the car. He starts going in the wrong lane and all that. He realizes these guys are too fast for him. Then he has a choice. Does he keep chasing them, or does he get out and get on the bus and afterwards he gets away? So, sorry, there you go.
Beautiful. See, but I really like these like frameworks what you just said, and that they can be applied to anything if it's a good thing, Or you can see make or break, If you apply it to another scene, then you can see, it's not that good. It doesn't follow good structure. It's a little bit messy or something. But for people that were in confusion, so this movie is called Jack Reacher. It's quite an underrated movie, especially by the lovers of the book, because Tom Cruise is a little bit too short and too small to be the character. But the movie, the first one, is made by this man,
Chris McQuarrie.
Christopher McQuarrie, who also directed Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation and the last one with Henry Cavill in it. And it's spectacular movie making. This man, he knows his shit. He coaches the audience really well. For example, the way you just described this, like the structure, there's this scene in, I think it's Rogue Nation. They're like in Vienna or the Opera House or something. And I watched.
Such a good scene. Yeah.
I knew you would like it, because it's Christopher McQuarrie educating the audience. He said, so I watched the clip, how he breaks down his own shit. And he says so the camera starts here. Soon we're gonna fight here, and the girl's gonna come with the gun. So this is definitely Rogue Nation. The girl comes for the first time. Is Isla Faust or something. And then he says she's gonna come there, but the audience doesn't know it yet. But I'm coaching the audience by showing how everything looks like and blah blah. And then after like a couple minutes, Tom Cruise and her start fighting and shit like that. But subconsciously you were coached to get a sense of the space. It's beautiful.
Also, that scene again, perfect scene. Can you remember how that scene, kind of what the big moment in that scene is?
No, I forgot. What was it?
Okay, so he has to make a choice of who he has to shoot. He has to make a choice. You see, perfect scene.
No, that was a beautiful scene. But then again, I like Tom Cruise, But what's funny that you mentioned how underrated that Jack Reacher movie is. So I have a friend of mine. He's also a fan of that movie. And we used to go back and forth with the the lines from that movie. You think I'm a hero, or we used to do all these lines, just from this movie the whole time.
There's so many good lines in it,
there are really good lines in it. Yeah.
There's whenever he's talking to the girl who's coming on to him, and she goes, "I ain't afraid of little blood," and he goes, "At least that means you're not pregnant." It's so good. It's
good. Or I'm not a hooker,
Yeah.
The cheapest girl is usually one you pay the most for, you know?
Yeah, valuable life lessons in there as well.
Yeah. But that's what I really like about the character Jack Reacher. Is those lines were straight from the book. I read the book as well, and those were in the book. But just with Tom Cruise's delivery is beautiful, man. I really love it. Yeah. So that was that was an interesting moment. I didn't expect beforehand we're gonna talk about this movie because I used to watch it over and over. It's one of those things that I used to have, you know. But it's a cool movie. Also, that that car scene has this beautiful car, Chevrolet 69 Chevelle. There are only like less than 5 cars in the world left of that specific year, and they trashed a couple. Like,
wow,
it's but it's a beautiful classic Chevrolet Mustang, and Tom Cruise does a lot of the stunt driving himself.
Yeah.
And it was an homage to Steve McQueen's Bullet. So
Yes.
the way it was shot was an homage to Bullet of Steve McQueen. Also good.
Yeah.
That's true.
Bullet's a classic. Yeah.
Yeah, the classic with the green Mustang, you know, down like San Francisco Road and stuff like that. Yeah, that's a good movie. Bullet, in my opinion, though, is a little bit old school in the sense it needed to be edited just a little bit better. It's a little bit too long.
Yeah.
The way it transitions in the scenes, it needs to be tightened up a little bit, and then it would be smooth. Then it would be smooth as fuck. But yeah.
But aside from that, classic.
Yeah. So now that we're talking about classic movies, what are like your favorite movies if you have those? Like,
I always think like you see your favorite film at like a really specific point in time. I think my favorite film of all time will be Ghostbusters. It's just so good the way it just kind of mixes tones. It's so tightly structured. There's not like a minute wasted. Everything matters. And then after that, Pulp Fiction, because when I saw Pulp Fiction, I was kind of, the thing is I can remember exactly when it was because they showed it on TV over in the UK or on BBC. It was during whenever they were doing all those kind of nostalgia shows. I love the 90s, and it happened to be 1994, and they showed it. It was the week after 9/11 because there were loads of complaints about it. There were loads of complaints. How dare you show this violent film after this? And it just kind of really stuck with me because before that I was just watching like Star Wars and blockbusters and all that kind of stuff, Jurassic Park and all that, which they're good, but this kind of started my my interest in filmmaking. I was like, well, if he can do it, I can do it, that kind of thing.
Yeah. You mean with Pulp Fiction, Quentin Tarentino, right?
Yeah.
This I can chime in here a little bit. It's funny that you said that. If he can do it, then I can do it, because that's how he learned the craft as well. So people asked him, it's one of the big questions he get. So where did you go to film school, or how was film school? Then he said, I didn't go to film school. I went to films. Yeah. So his favorite films, he just watched over and over and over and over till death. Like like those movie films that gets in the projector gets burned out if you watch it too many times. That's the shit. This kind of level. He was just sitting there watching movies, and then one day he had it. He came up with Reservoir Dogs out of the void or out of the muse. Just because he was so inspired. And it's funny how the torch gets passed to people like you or other people.
Well, the thing is, and the beautiful thing about people like Tarantino is he takes other people's stuff, but he kind of puts his own twist on it.
Yeah.
Like it's based like Reservoir Dogs kind of borrows heavily from Stanley Kubrick's The Killing. Have you seen that?
No, I know who Stanley is, but I haven't seen that movie.
You gotta check out some early Kubrick when you get a chance. Everyone talks about The Shining and Full Metal Jacket and all that, but really, like The Killing and Paths of Glory are just some of the finest films ever made.
Okay.
So he borrows from The Killing, and then there's one called City on Fire, and it kind of ends with an undercover cop infiltrating this group of robbers and all that. So, like, Tarantino was like I was obsessed with him for like a couple of years because, like, to me this was like so mind blowing, and from that I kind of got into other films through that. And it kind of taught me that like films and storytelling can be more than just explosions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Other favorite films would be What is it? RoboCop is just an absolute classic. Like,
I used to love RoboCop.
Perfectly.
You mean just number one, right? By Paul Verhoeven. Right?
Just the first one. Yeah. Just the first one. Paul Verhoeven, so underrated as a director.
Yeah, for sure.
Did I sound anyway? But like Paul Verhoeven, one of my all-time favorites. And then after that, you gotta have your Disney classics. Mary Poppins, I think, is an absolute
Mary Poppins, y'all.
Mary Poppins, y'all. The thing is, you know, the beautiful thing, like, do you like westerns, or do you appreciate westerns?
I like it. Like, for example, I just described Logan. I like the model of it. I think it was Tarantino who said that he likes westerns the best because they're the perfect story. There's always this cowboy riding in, the story to resolve. For example, the 3:10 to Yuma is a perfect story, either the old one or the new one. It's a beautiful type of story. It's just so, it's like a timepiece. What do they call that? Where people dress up, you know, like in a certain time era.
Period piece.
A period piece. Yes, it's a period piece. One, you know, you can watch a western in 2030, in 90s. It doesn't matter. A western's always a fucking western. Gonna be fucking guns. A fucking tug. You know, it has something. I like it.
Make sure you watch, if you haven't seen it already, Once Upon a Time in the West.
Oh yeah.
It is. Again, I remember exactly when I saw that. It was actually the weekend that Charles Bronson died, you know, and they showed it to him as like a tribute to him, and it's just one of the, oh my god, because I never liked westerns before that, but Once Upon a Time in the West is phenomenal. And here's the other. This is the go back to Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins, those kind of films, nanny films, are basically a female version of the western. Because if you think about what happens in Mary Poppins, so in Mary Poppins, the family is in trouble. There's trouble going on.
She comes into the story like a cowboy riding in.
He comes in. And like the dad is like the mayor of the town. He's the corrupt mayor. You know, the kids aren't the problem. It's not the outlaws are the problem. It's the mayor that's the problem. You know, so then Mary Poppins sorts it out, and then in the end, she rides off into the sunset. You know?
Yeah, that's cool. Because I'm not like a Mary Poppins. I haven't watched that movie a lot, but I like that. Like I said, I like the clicks, the links. You know, it's really beautiful. So I wanted to link up on this thing. You mentioned like Ghostbusters. It's like the way it's structured, right? It reminds me of a little bit. Do you know the comedy television show Community? Have you watched that?
Yes. Yeah.
So the creator, he's almost like a creative genius. His name is Dan Harmon. Yeah. And his favorite movie is the greatest movie of all time, Die Hard. He says because it itself has a beautiful structure as well. So he was himself. He had like a writer's block and all kinds of other shit until he was watching Die Hard over and over and over again. Until then he saw it. So Die Hard is made of like a few, like how you were making a list, a structure that has a few things. So he had the similar things what you described, but it had its own name that comes perfectly in Die Hard. So I can put that in the link that if people are interested as well, because what was so beautiful about it, he took this fucking model and he uses it for every Community episode. If you know it, you cannot unsee it. So I don't know, like Jeff does this, blah blah blah, and then this has to happen, and this and people were like, how is Community so well written? You know, it's so original, blah blah blah. It's just this perfect structure. Every episode, he made every episode, until he got fired or was a beef, whatever. But I really wanted to. I saw that, like what you said, the Ghostbuster reminded me of that Die Hard thing. Yeah.
No, Die Hard is. Yeah, it is. It's a perfect film. It's, you know, it's. Well, the other thing is, it's like it's amazing that things. Not that films get made, but like that they're even slightly good, because like. In Die Hard, they have the scene where like John McClane runs into Hans Gruber. You know, Hans Gruber, you know, is up in the ceiling. That was completely put in at the last minute, because they were like, here, how are the hero and the bad guy going to know what each other looks like? They haven't met, and they're like, oh shit, we need to quickly write a scene to kind of do that, you know. So like, I think you do all that hard work whenever it comes to writing. You do all the hard work of, you know, you do all the preparation, and then when you're there in the middle of it, you know, the inspiration just kind of comes to you. You do all your hard work, you do all your prep work to let your subconscious go nuts. Yeah. Because because with like army training, in the army training, like when they're training you in the army, they're training you to climb over walls, to push your body in physical ways, not for fun, but so like say you're on the battlefield and you see this big massive wall, you're not gonna be like, oh, I can't climb over that wall. You know, you're just gonna be like, right, I need to get over the wall so I can get to this point. You know, doing the preparation work frees up your thinking. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's really cool. Like a foundation, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a good analogy, because what I like about soldiers, if I meet them, so you can either smell that they're either like a cop, or they were in the basic army, or sometimes you meet like these special forces type of guys, and it's quite eerily to be in their presence, because they're almost like like villains almost, but the opposite. Because they've done some prep work, which makes them quite prepared. Yeah, to put it that way. If
they're
something
always
happens,
ready to go.
they're not even confident in that they're gonna win or whatever, but they're just, we're gonna handle this. I like that. Yeah, that's good. So you like Tarantino, and you mentioned that he puts a spin on things, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen Hateful Eight? Can you?
Yeah. I gotta be honest, it's not my favorite. To me, it just kind of felt like Reservoir Dogs, but in a Western, you know?
Yeah, for sure. No, I just want to like ask you if you know what the spin was on this one, because it was one of those old school closed mystery types of scenes. Have you ever seen one of those things?
Yeah, it was like I think it was kind of based on Agatha Christie's and Younger We're Young.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's I gotta be honest, I was just like, I like this better when it was Reservoir Dogs, you know, that kind of thing. That's the problem with like Tarantino. Like, I love him, but at the same time I kind of hate him as well, because he's more concerned about referencing himself, you know. I always think, like, I love Pulp Fiction, I love Reservoir Dogs. I think his best film is probably Jackie Brown, because it's his most mature film. And the problem with Jackie Brown is it didn't, you know, I always love films and you kind of almost sum up in a line. And for Jackie Brown, it's Michael Keaton kind of turns to her and goes, "You didn't exactly set the world on fire, Jackie," you know. And that was the problem with the film Jackie Brown. It wasn't massive like Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. I think he got scared of that, and that's why he disappeared for like 7 years, and then he came back with Kill Bill, which I'm not really a fan of, you know. I kind of think he tried pushing himself. It wasn't a massive success. So he kind of went back to just kind of, you know, doing the kind of when he came back, when he took that break, he wasn't as good. He always talks about directors like they're boxers. He's like, oh, the boxers always keep, you know, they always think they've got one more fight in them. Every boxer should know when to stop. And part of me is like, you should have stopped like a while ago. Like, he should have kind of maybe just stopped after Inglourious Bastards or Django Unchained even, you know.
Yeah.
But
what was that gap? What you said after Reservoir Dogs? He made Pulp Fiction, right? Or Jackie Brown first?
He made Pulp Fiction, then he made Jackie Brown. Then there was like a gap of 7 years, and then he came back with Kill Bill. And I don't know, it just wasn't as good when he came back.
Yeah, but what did you mean by you had a hunch or you suspected that he was scared? What do you mean by that?
Well, like Jackie Brown, it just kind of like Jackie Brown isn't as quotable, you know. It's not as cool as you know, as Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs.
Yes.
And it wasn't like Reservoir Dogs was a big success for like an independent film, and then Pulp Fiction was even bigger. But Jackie Brown kind of fell between, you know, went in the middle kind of somewhere.
Yeah, it's quite obscure. People don't know it in the mainstream. Let's put it like that. You know.
It's just not as popular. It's not as quotable. I think it's probably his strongest film. It's very mature. You know, it's all about kind of, you know, getting older, and maybe you didn't do everything with your life that you wanted to do. I still think it's a great. I think it's one of his. I think those 3 films that he did are perfect as far as I'm concerned.
But you just think that he lost his sauce a little bit after that, yeah?
I think so. He lost his nerve a bit. He could have went on and done something else, but he took to just kind of come back with like a kind of like a homage to like martial arts films, you know. It was just, I was like, this isn't as interesting, you know.
I get it. It reminds me a little bit how he likes to reference himself. I had to laugh about that one. For example, in Inglourious Basterds, there's a scene. I didn't catch that. Somebody I saw it in like one of these movie analysis clips.
Yeah.
That in Inglourious Basterds, yeah, okay, spoiler alert if you haven't watched this, but so Brad Pitt or the other dude, like he carves up this Nazi at the end, and he's
Yeah.
carving it, and you're looking at the screen to Brad Pitt, and then he says, "I think this might be my masterpiece," and it's
Yeah.
basically doing that fucking thing that he's saying to himself that this is the
Yeah.
masterpiece. Like, bro, like what the fuck? Which artwork ever says to himself like
Yeah.
in a meta way, this is the like.
Well, that's the thing. And you know what's even worse? At one point, he was considering himself playing the Brad Pitt part. So it would have been him saying it. And you're just like, no, 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 no. No, no, no.
That would
No,
be
no,
too
no.
meta, too
It'd
weird.
be too much. That's the thing. That is the thing. Like, it's just, I kind of feel like when he came back, like his head was up his ass and it's just
Yeah.
kind of not come down.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Inglorious is probably the best of his combat. I really like Death Proof. I think Death Proof has got an amazing car chase in it.
Yeah. I like
too
Inglourious
long
Basterds as well, for the specific scenes that are in it with
exactly.
Colonel Hans Landau. Beautiful scenes. Beautiful scenes.
Well, okay. Again, I'm going to bore you with this, but like that first scene with Hans Landa.
Yeah.
Perfect scene. Perfect thing. Shows up. Hans Landa shows up to the farm. He has a nice wee conversation with it, and then you realize there's people. Then you realize people are under the floorboards. Then he goes, point to where they are. So he's giving them a choice. So he's giving the farmer a choice, and then the farmer points it out. Then the aftermath, the family get killed. Perfect scene. Perfect scene.
And,
all perfect scenes follow that.
And what people might not. So it's really good that intuitively I knew it was a perfect scene because of how perfect it was. But so your framework supports it. But what people might not know, I used to like get these watch these movies on my computer so I could see how long it was. The movie. Inglourious Basterds itself is give or take 3 hours. That scene is 1 hour or something. It's a third of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, but that's Tarantino. I only watched for that potentiality. You cannot watch another director. They don't have that potentiality to create this fucking magic,
Yeah, definitely.
I like it. I liked it for those types of things, or Tarantino sometimes loves details, like in the, again, spoiler alert, at one point in the bar scene, the guy does this, the two instead of this, and that's like the pivotal twist in the bar scene. Then this huge, massive shootout is beautiful. That was a beautiful scene as well. They play the card game, it's beautiful.
Yeah, no, I prefer that scene. It's more tense because you know going in that they're the good guys are dressed as the allies. It's just pure suspense. It's amazing. Yeah. No,
that suspense is fucking cool. He got that from Western movies, by the way. Like.
Yeah. No, definitely. Sergio Leone's Sergio Leone, the guy who directed Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yeah.
Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Huge influence on Tarantino. So.
Yes. No, that's what I wanted to reference. Like, so Tarantino watches movie over and over, but also like the analogy you made, like a boxer who has to hang up the gloves,
Yep.
So Tarantino, why he doesn't quit? Do you know why? Have you heard that?
He wants to do one more film or something like that. He wants to do 10.
Yeah, no, yeah, but it's like he wants to outdo Sergio Leone. Have you heard that?
Right. Okay.
So his favorite, or at least one of his favorite movies, is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And specifically, spoiler alert, the last scene of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, the shootout. And it's just so beautiful. Like, of course, Blondie, he wins, like, and then there's this beautiful scene with the horse, and something like that. If you've seen the movie, I don't know the specifics, but for Tarantino, it was so influential on him that he saw that scene and he was like, I want a movie that's just as well, everything from start to finish, and then with this beautiful scene, and then that beats him, Sergio Leone. And even in Django Unchained, it's almost like he jumps the shark, because I knew this. There's a scene with a horse as well, Django as a cowboy, and there's a scene that he's almost like, it's almost as if you're saying, I'm trying to beat the scene, but Django Unchained is not better than The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
No, it's got this. It's just structurally, it's just kind of all over the place. It's just not. It's just, and that was one of my main problems with like Tarantino when he came back. It was like everything was kind of like, it always felt like you were watching. Like Inglourious Basterds feels like two movies put together. You have the the girl who runs the cinema. You have her story, and then you have the
The
Inglorious
Nazis,
Bastards,
yeah.
and they just don't really fit together.
No, in fact it doesn't actually. Now that you talk, I do like Brad Pitt in that movie, of course, but yeah. And
Cool.
okay, final one then. What did you think about
Okay.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? What did you think about that one?
I really disliked it. Like it was
I had to ask it, yeah.
just because I would ask people were like, oh, it was great, and I was like, what did you like about it? It was like, oh, just the acting, and you're like, what about the acting? And they'd be like, oh, that scene where he's making the TV show. I was like, yes, but what was the point of that scene? There was so much stuff that just didn't have a point for me, and I was
No.
just like, I don't get it.
Usually when you watch a movie, so we get bombarded with this in the content creation world, of course. The why must exist, right? But
Yeah.
with any movie or any story that you jump in, you must feel the stakes are fucking high. You must feel, okay, that guy, he wants to kill that guy. Okay, that's personal for him. Even John Wick, the fucking dog, the why is so powerful for him. Like, okay, I'm gonna watch this stupid ass movie. It's a cool movie, I like it, but this like bombastic, nonsensical movie just for that fucking dog. But that Once Upon a Time in the Hollywood, I was watching as well. So like, okay, definitely see some cool Tarantino kinds of shots,
Yeah.
But why am I watching this?
It's just I have a funny feeling that it's supposed to be super meta, and I'm not getting it.
Yeah. But yeah, again, if Brad Pitt was not in that movie, I wouldn't have liked it. The screen time was him like 50%, so I loved it for him. But
yeah.
So yeah, man, we've been going on for quite a while actually. Like, I think it's a nice like fucking episode. We've been going on for like 1.5 hours.
Sweet.
I think do you have like some closing thoughts? We talked a lot about stuff, like storytelling, screenplays, everything.
No, really. Just if you're watching this, give me a follow on Twitter at Kieran Majuri, because I want to crack 1,000 followers.
No, yeah, bro. Like Kieran, like at the end, it's also the time that people can plug or say anything they want. Anything you want.
All right, well, that's just really it. Give me a follow on social media. Check out my website, kieranmajuri.com. I do short stories. I talk about meditation. I talk about how to write stories. You might like it. And yeah, that's really it. Thanks for having me. This has been so much fun. I've had a real great time. It's been great to actually finally speak to you in person.
Yeah, a lot of people have that. There's this like virginal quality to these types of conversations that people. It's also the first time that I talk with you. Some people think we've been talking back and forth. With some people, it's like the first time, and there's this like uniqueness to it that if you then chime into the episode, it's like, oh wow, these people are a little bit like touching off on each other.
Cool.
It was my pleasure.
No, thanks for having me. This has been great.
It was really amazing. I really liked it. But for the fans of Kieran, we're gonna have his website, all his social medias, and the things that were mentioned like in this podcast. Like specific articles or the books. Whatever is gonna go down there. Anything we want. And so yeah, thanks for tuning in, like the audience, and spread the word. Like and subscribe. And this podcast is the best, of course. Thank you very much.
Of course.